what is the thing that you enjoy the most about the whole process of making the Mandrake Project?
The thing I enjoy, the two things I enjoy the most is coming up with the ideas and the inspirations and the stories behind the songs. I enjoy that process. And then we're just going to fast forward to listening to the album when it's finished and going, wow, that's amazing. Because in between is a whole world of uncertainty and hard work and scratching your head and being in the studio and pushing little buttons to make things happen, which I realize you have to do, but it's not really as exciting as the initial moment of creation. But the rest of it comes with the package, unfortunately. To get it to go in the it's one thing to hey, it's like making a baby, you know. I mean, yeah, I mean the initial event is like yes, and then you have to wait 9 months and then it gets better.
Roy C has been fundamental in the development of your solo career. Since Accident of Birth in 97, he has been the producer until the Mandrake Project. What do you think Roy's contribution has been in the development of your sound?
Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, Roy over the years has been literally in and out of my life at various points, you know. So from when I first met him on Balls to Picasso, and then of course he was off doing his own band for a while, and I went off and did Skunk Works, and then he re-entered my life with Accident of Birth, and we put our kind of rock head, like big metal rock head, back on with that record. But then with Chemical Wedding, we really took it somewhere else. Sonically, he came up with some sounds and some innovations on that record that I think were really groundbreaking. I think that was one of the, metal wise, I think that was one of the most influential records of the decade. So I'm really proud of what we've achieved together. Tyranny of Souls is almost it's kind of like it's a little bit chemical. It's a little bit of everything. Tyranny of Souls, and of course by that stage we weren't touring it anymore. And then fast forward to now, I suppose I've had more input on this record than yeah, that's fair to say. That I've there's quite a few songs on this record which are attributed to me, not me and somebody else. But still, I think Roy's effect on the sound, a track like Ragnarok, for example, that big detuned layered sort of guitar thing, that's very dense kind of sound, and that's something which is kind of new on this record. And of course Sonata, the track at the end, which is 25 years old. So that was Roy Z 25 years ago. Although the guitar solo at the end is from like earlier this last year. But the rest of the track and the feel and the vibe and everything is from 25 years ago. That's what we sounded like 25 years ago. 80% of the vocal is from 25 years ago.
Creative process of this new album dates back to the work time from the Book of Souls. Is there any influence from the sound of that album in this new work?
No, not at all. No. I mean, we did Book of Souls, and then I got throat cancer, and then I got better, and then we went out and toured like crazy. And then it was and then it was Senjutsu World, so yeah. But Book of Souls, by the time I started doing this record, Book of Souls was like a distant memory.
You were recently at the CCXP in Brazil, and he would like to know what is your relationship, with the geek universe.
With the what universe? Sorry,
the geek universe.
The geek universe. Well, I am a closet geek. I mean, look, I mean, I'm a weird kind of a geek as well, because I basically am like an analog geek. So I'm not crazy about the digital world. I appreciate it has some advantages, but most of the time, it just puts people out of work, and and just removes their motivation for thinking for themselves, you know. So as a but I am a bit of a geek. I love airships, I love rockets, I love space, you know. Obviously I love aeroplanes and things like that, but I love submarines, and a very big fan of trains as well. Any form of mass transportation like turns me on.
If you could, work with someone that you haven't worked before, that is, that who would it be and why?
Oh, wow. That'd be kind of cool. I mean, I only say this because he wrote one of the greatest songs ever recorded by anybody, which is when Johnny Cash did his version of Hurt. But you know, it'd be nice to sit in a room with Trent Reznor and chat to him about what, you know, how he does what he does, and you know what his motivations are and things like that. You know, just yeah, there's nobody like burning a hole in my brain saying, "Oh, I must go and work with this person." But I like, you know, when you can meet people and you're not working, you're just meeting somebody and chatting to them, and you get some idea of how they put things together. But you only really know that if you're sitting in a studio and or kind of watching them do it, you know.
What do you think about heavy metal nowadays? And what do you think about, metal and fusions?
Metal and fusion. Well, yeah, fusion's always good. You know, I mean, so I mean, I don't know exactly what he means by fusion, because you've got to have some kind of pure element. That metal is not a, you know, metal's not a completely pure, definable uh, form of music. I mean, it's got all kinds of different facets to it. You know, so what's heavy now? What's heavy metal to one person is like, oh, that's not heavy metal. That's like classic rock, you know, and all this kind of stuff. We have all these categories, you know, and I absolutely have no fucking interest in any of them at all. In terms of all I listen to is, hey, is that a cool track? Does it, you know, it doesn't matter. Is it, if it's, you know, if it's for an example, if it's the, you know, Sepultura, or whether it's the Scorpions, or whether it's Cinderella, or whether it's Uli John Roth, I don't give a shit. All I think is, hey, is this a cool piece of music? That's it. And that's what I was like when I was growing up, because nobody had all these ridiculous categories, you know, like 150 different types of metal. I mean, it's like, you know, it's like how many different varieties of, you know, the herpes virus are there? You know, there's just as many bloody different types of music. And it's insane, you know. So I just listen and think, does that piece of music move me in some way? That's it. I mean, it's as simple as that, you know.
There are many young fans who know your work as a solo artist and later discover your musical legacy. How is your interaction with this audience who are digital natives and whose musical conception has been very different from when you started in music?
Well, I will welcome to welcome to my analog world. It'll be a shock because you have to, you know, you have to think about a piece of music that is 58 minutes long, and you know should be enjoyed start to finish, and you can go and pick which track you want and which is your favorite tracks, you know. But really, people need to listen to the record. Um, you won't understand the record unless you listen to it at least once from the beginning to the end, uninterrupted, no distractions. You know, just sit somewhere quietly with headphones on or whatever, and just listen to it.
If you had any sort of charm or anything that you do before you go on stage.
Um, I've touched my toes 10 times. That's it. I touch my toes 10 times and you'll never see it because I hide behind the curtains while I do it. I know I have a bit of a warm up, nothing, insanely special, but yeah, I have a bit of a stretch. I've got a big flask of coffee and some water. That's it. That's what's on stage, and me.
What do you think about the high rates the concert organizers add to event price tickets? Is it real? Is this really having a negative impact in music industry?
Uh, well, two things. One, it depends depends what the show is and kind of who the audience are. I mean, I'm not going to go around and say, specific artists, because most of the artists that are charging, like $1,200 a ticket, like in Las Vegas, if you want to go and see the U2 show, I think it was $1,200 for a seat in the Sphere, right? So I've got no interest in paying $1,200, to go and see U2 in the Sphere. None, $100 maybe, you know. But for me, what's important is to try and keep, on the one hand, the right type of tickets at the right price. So by that I mean the right type of tickets. I mean the tickets that are in front of the stage, which everybody says should be the most expensive tickets. Actually, no, they should be the most reasonably priced tickets, because the people who are going to go there to the front of the stage are going to be people who are real fans, people who are kids, people who can't afford the crazy money. But they're the people that need to be down the front. They're the people that are going to keep this music alive, you know. And then you get the people that, they might be fans, but they want to bring their wife and they want to, they don't want to get too hot and sweaty and all the rest of it. So, there's some seats at the top or something else like that, whether they're going to pick. And those get priced, differently. I understand how promoters try and do it to try and not lose money, because, promoters are part of the whole ecosystem. Without promoters, there would be no shows. The promoters have somehow got to make their money back, So it's a delicate balance. But in general, ticket prices have gone through the roof, and some of the ticket prices that people pay, well, some of the prices people pay, for me, it's insane. I would never pay that price. But then again, I'm probably not a fan of that particular artist. So, it's people who are, maybe they think it's worth it. I mean, certainly with my shows, we've always tried to keep the ticket prices within the normal boundaries. And the same with Maiden,
How do you filter your inspirations to choosing your projects, whether it is for Maiden or your solo career?
I wish I could say that I had a plan, but I don't. I just go on instinct, and how much energy I can devote to actually completing something. Because I'm one of these people that has, I mean, when I was a kid, my history teacher accused me of having a brain like a grasshopper, because I would just jump from one thing to another thing to another thing to another thing. And I was like, well, why is that a bad thing? And it's not a bad thing, but sometimes you have to finish something that you started, and you can't do 6 things at once. In fact, you can only do one thing at once, but you can maybe flip from one project to another project, and do it like that. So it's only really, I look at the projects and ideas I have as, it's almost like survival of the fittest. It's like Darwinian selection, which one is, this is a great idea, but is it going to survive until next week? Because given my life and all the pressures on it and things like that. So you have to really pick which project you're going to go with.
Rock has evolved, changed over the years. Both you and your band change and evolve. But if you had the power to go back in time and bring something of that young Bruce Dickinson to today, what will you bring? To that, and what would you say it puts into your future yourself?
What would I bring back from what would I bring back from myself?
Your younger self, yes.
My younger, what would I bring back from my younger self? Yeah, I suppose nothing, just a body that didn't hurt. Simple as that.
Did you feel a big difference between scripting the story of a graphic novel and writing a song?
Yeah, the two things are quite different, actually. So when you're writing when there are elements, I suppose, of things that when you write a song, very often I'll start off writing 2 or 3 lines, and I won't even at that point have a story for the song. I won't know what the song is about, or it'll just be those words sound really good with something. I mean, an example would be a song like, Afterglow of Ragnarok, where I have no idea why I sang Afterglow of Ragnarok, because it just sounded cool with the chorus when we were writing it. And I thought, oh my God, Afterglow of Ragnarok. What the hell is this all about? So I had to kind of reverse engineer the story of the song. And of course, it was nothing whatsoever to do with the comic. So at that point, when we did the video, I had to create a comic in order to do the video, and in order to relate the song to the comic. So Afterglow of Ragnarok turns out to be a trip. It's like a hallucinogenic trip inspired by drinking Mandrake potion by Dr. Necropolis. There's your get out of jail free card. It was a dream, So, so from that perspective, that's the kind of link. But I don't. That's it gives you an insight into the way that the way that we that you get to think sometimes, and and actually it is true that ironically sometimes money can play a part in creativity, or lack of money can play a part in creativity, because you can't go off and say, oh, I want to do this. You guess what? Yeah, there isn't any money to do that. What are you going to do instead? So when I did the treatment for the video for Afterglow of Ragnarok, I was like, there's no way we can afford to shoot this video. So instead, I turned it into a comic. And with the 8-page, the 8-page introduction comic that goes with the single. So having done that, we then found the video director, Ryan, who did Rain on the Graves with me as well. Great guy. And I said, Ryan, I'd love you to do the video, but we can't afford to do the video that I originally wanted to do. So what video are you going to actually make? And he goes, oh, it's easy. He said, I've read the comic. He said, I'm just going to do the comic. I'm going to do a video of the comic, scene by scene, shot by shot. I went, well, the reason I wrote the comic is because we couldn't afford to film the comic. What are you talking about? He goes, no, I'm going to do it. And he did it. So it was great. So that's what I mean by, sometimes you go around the houses because of something budgetary to do with a video or something, particularly with film, which is like mega expensive no matter what you do. But it forces you to think differently. Yeah, I mean, I am so looking forward to coming down, and Guadalajara is going to be the well, actually, there might be a couple of warm-up shows in the LA area. But maybe I shouldn't have said. Oh well, anyway, never mind. They said it now. But but Guadalajara will be the official opening of the tour, and then Mexico City, which if we can find our way there through the inevitable traffic jam, then it'll be great. And then we hit Brazil and finish in Sao Paulo, which is going to be, I think, kind of extraordinary. It's going to be a really, really great tour. Really looking forward to it. and then we hit Europe. So no, just come and see us, pay a visit, pay your respects to the Mandrake Project, and have a chemical wedding on me, and don't have an accident at birth. And but you can all sing Tears of the Dragon as well.